The Battle of Earth stands as the most critical moment in human history. The Avengers stood against Thanos and his army in 2023 to fight for the survival of the universe. Everyone knows how it ended, since Iron Man snapped his fingers and the heroes won. But consider if a third player had entered the game. Imagine if Hela, the goddess of death, had survived Asgard. If Odin's firstborn arrived on that battlefield, the entire war would have shifted instantly. She broke Mjolnir with one hand and conquered realms alone. If she met the Mad Titan, the result would be absolute chaos. We must look at where the battle stood before the portals opened to understand this change. Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor were the only ones standing between Thanos and total victory, and they were losing badly. This 2014 version of Thanos was fresh, ruthless, and terrifyingly strong. He had just knocked out Iron Man and was beating Thor into the dirt. Cap proved he was worthy by lifting Mjolnir, but even that wasn't enough to stop the Titan. Thanos broke his shield and prepared to summon his entire army to wipe out Earth. The heroes were broken, exhausted, and out of options. They needed a miracle, but in this timeline, they get a monster instead. The ground begins to rumble, just as Thanos prepares to signal his ship. It isn't the orange sparks of a sorcerer's portal, but a dark, jagged Terran reality that rips open the scorched earth. Black spikes erupt from the ground and skewer the debris. A woman in a jagged green suit steps out of the shadows, with her hair slicked back into deadly horns. Hela has returned! She didn't die in Surtur's fire, but simply moved through the shadows to the greatest source of death in the universe. She looks at the broken Avengers before turning her eyes to the purple giant standing tall in the rubble. The battlefield goes silent as Thor whispers, "Sister," in pure horror.
Thanos doesn't know who she is, but he recognizes arrogance when he sees it.
Hela looks at the Mad Titan, smiles, and sees a challenger. She tells him he is in her seat, echoing her arrival on Asgard. Thanos focuses only on the stones and orders her to move, which is his first mistake. He swings his massive double-bladed sword that shattered vibranium like glass. Hela catches the blade with one hand instead of dodging, just like she caught Mjolnir. The shock on Thanos' face would be worth everything. This is a being who draws power from conquest, and she is far stronger than the brother he just beat. She knocks the Titan back with a flick of her wrist to prove instantly that she is the alpha predator here. Thanos realizes this isn't a normal fight and calls in his army. The Chitauri and Outriders flood the battlefield. Heroes usually get overwhelmed by numbers here, but Hela loves it. She summons her Necroswords to launch a storm of blades that shreds through the alien soldiers effortlessly. She doesn't just kill them, though. She uses the lingering power of the Eternal Flame, or her necromancy, to make the fallen bodies of the Chitauri rise again. Within moments, Hela isn't just fighting the army, but stealing it. She turns Thanos' own troops against him to create a wall of undead soldiers for protection. She laughs that she missed this while cutting a path straight toward the Titan. I have to stop briefly to say a huge thank you to everyone who left comments on the last video. This entire scenario exists because you asked for it, and we choose our topics based on what you write. Please drop your wildest what-if ideas below, since the most liked comment gets made into a video. Hit subscribe if you're enjoying this content. Now, we return to the fight. Thor finally pulls himself up, but feels conflicted because his worst enemy is fighting his other worst enemy. Iron Man asks if she is with them, and Thor shakes his head because he knows Hela isn't here to save Earth. She is here to rule it. The Avengers are now caught in a three-way war where they can't let Thanos win, but can't let Hela win either. Hela glances at Thor to see his weight gain and disheveled look. She would definitely mock him by saying he looks like he let himself go. But she doesn't attack him yet because she views the Avengers as pests. The Titan is the only rival worthy of her attention,
The Black Order warriors rush in to defend their father. Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, and Cole Obsidian gave the Avengers immense trouble in Infinity War. Cap struggled against Corvus, and Hulkbuster struggled against Cull. But Hela ends them in seconds. She is fast, precise, and lethal. She parries Proxima's spear and sends a blade through her chest without looking. Cole Obsidian swings his hammer, and Hela simply conjures a giant spike from the ground to impale the massive beast instantly. It is a brutal display of the power gap. The Avengers struggled to survive these lieutenants, while Hela treats them like annoyances. Thanos watches his children fall and feels genuine concern for the first time. He faces a conqueror who is better at killing than he is. Clint Barton is running with the Nano Gauntlet in the chaos to keep it away from the Outriders. Hela spots the glowing stones. She called the Infinity Gauntlet fake in Odin's vault, but she knows the power of the stones themselves. She sees the Tesseract Space Stone and recognizes the energy. Her goal shifts immediately because she doesn't just want to kill Thanos, but wants the gauntlet too. If Hela gets the Infinity Stones, she becomes unstoppable. She abandons her duel with Thanos and leaps toward Hawkeye. Now the Avengers have to protect the stones from the Goddess of Death, which is terrifying because she can kill them from a distance with infinite blades. Hela is intercepted by Scarlet Witch before she can reach the gauntlet. Wanda is the only Avenger who can match her power, fueled by grief and rage, as her red chaos magic slams into Hela. This is the matchup fans dream of, with Hela's blades versus Wanda's energy shields. Hela is physically stronger and more durable, but Wanda's magic is raw reality warping. Hela throws a storm of swords, but Wanda catches them in midair and hurls them back. Hela is impressed and smiles that she finally found a witch worth killing. They lock in a stalemate, with red and green energy lighting up the sky. This distraction is the only reason the other heroes survive, and buys time for Spider-Man to grab the gauntlet and run. Thanos sees he is losing control. Since his army is turning against him, his lieutenants are dead, and Hela is occupied with Wanda. He makes the desperate call to rain fire. His massive ship opens its cannons and bombards the battlefield. The blasts knock Wanda back and bury her under debris. The water breaks the dam, and the entire area becomes a hellscape of explosions. Hela stands tall while the Avengers scramble for cover. Explosions bounce off her magic armor as she looks up at the ship that dared to interrupt her fight. She threw a blade fast enough to hit a ship in orbit during Ragnarok. Here, she summons gigantic spikes of obsidian from the earth and shoots them like missiles straight into the sky. Captain Marvel arrived to destroy the Sanctuary 2 in the original timeline, but here, Hela does it herself. Her massive spikes pierce the hull of Thanos' flagship. She launches herself into the air and lands on the ship's surface. She manifests blades inside the engine room with a wave of her hand to tear the ship apart from the inside. The Sanctuary 2 groans and crashes into the lake to send a tidal wave across the battlefield. Hela jumps down from the burning wreckage and lands like a superhero with a sinister grin. She has single-handedly removed Thanos' air support. The Avengers are terrified because if she can do that to a warship, she could devastate New York or the world. The gauntlet is loose. Spider-Man passes it to Black Panther, who passes it to Hawkeye, while everyone tries to keep it away from Thanos. Hela is back in the hunt and creates a wall of spikes to cut off the hero's path to the quantum van. Thanos charges through the debris and knocks Black Panther aside. Hela intercepts him for round 2. Thanos punches her with his full strength, a blow that could shatter a moon. Hela slides back while wiping a drop of black blood from her lip. She isn't invulnerable off Asgard, but remains incredibly tough. She laughs and drives a Necrosword through Thanos' shoulder. He roars and grabs her throat in a brutal brawl between two conquerors. The van is destroyed, and the gauntlet falls in the mud. Thanos dives for it, Hela dives for it, and Thor tries to stop them both. Tony Stark grabs the stones to save everyone from Thanos in the original movie.
But here, the threat is double. If Hela gets the stones, she won't snap half the universe away, but will enslave it instead. She will march on every planet and force them to kneel. Iron Man realizes that snapping Thanos away isn't enough anymore. He has to deal with Hela too. He looks at Strange, who holds up one finger to signal the one outcome. The equation has changed. Tony doesn't just need to be fast, he needs to be lucky. Thanos grabs the gauntlet and puts it on to feel the surge of power. A black blade slices clean through his arm before he can snap. Hela stands over him, holding his severed hand with the gauntlet still on it. She calls him pathetic and kicks the Titan into the dirt. Hela slides the nano-gauntlet onto her own hand as the energy surges through her. Her green suit glows with the colors of the Infinity Stones. She doesn't scream in pain like Hulk or Thanos, but absorbs it since she is a goddess. She looks at the Avengers, frozen in terror. She has the power to rewrite reality. She looks at Thor, smiles, and tells everyone to kneel. Hela doesn't snap because she doesn't want to destroy. She wants to rule. She uses the Space Stone to teleport the Chitauri army into deep space, to suffocate them instantly. She uses the Reality Stone to turn the debris of the Avengers compound into a new dark palace. She freezes the Avengers in place with the Time Stone. Thanos watches, bleeding and defeated as his destiny is stolen. Hela executes him right there with a clean beheading. The war is over, but the heroes haven't won. They are now subjects of the Eternal Empress. Iron Man never gets to snap, and Black Widow's sacrifice was for nothing. The universe is safe from erasure, but it is no longer free. This scenario ends with a coronation rather than a funeral. Thor is forced to serve at his sister's side to keep his friends alive. Earth becomes the capital of a new universal empire. Hela uses the stones to conquer Xandar, the Kree, and the Skrulls within weeks. It is a dark peace, where order is absolute and freedom is gone. The Avengers survive, but live in a cage made of their own failure. It proves that sometimes an enemy you know is better than the wild card you don't. Thanos was a madman with a mission, while Hela was a monster with an appetite. The monster ate everything in this timeline. Hela's arrival at the Battle of Earth would have solved the Thanos problem, while creating a much bigger one. It shows us that there is always a bigger fish in the Marvel Universe. The Avengers were lucky they only had to fight one conqueror that day. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss our next theory if you liked this twisted version of Endgame. We have plenty more scenarios to explore, and I want you there for every single one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.